Netizens have voiced disappointment with Minister Masagos Zulkifli's response to Calvin Cheng's recent controversial comments, saying that a mere expression of disagreement was inadequate. Many felt that, as the minister in charge of Muslim affairs, Masagos should have taken a firmer stance publicly. Masagos, who is also Minister for Social and Family Development and MP for Tampines GRC, broke his silence on 3 April 2025. In a Facebook post, he stated that he disagrees with Calvin Cheng's views about the Israel-Palestine conflict. He also reiterated his long-standing position, calling for an end to the killing of innocent civilians and praising Singaporeans for their unity during difficult times. I have expressed my views on the Israel-Palestinian conflict several times. The killing of innocent lives must stop. Many have also shared their grief and frustration, deeply moved by the suffering of innocent civilians, especially children. Here at home, Singaporeans of all backgrounds come together in solidarity. The fact that people of different ethnicities and religions stand united in calling for peace speaks volumes. It reflects our deep values of justice, humanity, and mutual respect, Masagos wrote. His statement came after days of public outrage directed at Cheng, who on 13th March had posted a sarcastic remark on Facebook, suggesting that activists should be sponsored to Gaza on the condition that they not return to Singapore. The comment was widely condemned as dehumanizing and disrespectful, particularly towards the Malay-Muslim community. In the same post, Masagos also addressed concerns surrounding the Tampines SG60 Cares initiative. He clarified that the program would continue independently, regardless of Cheng's involvement. On 30th March, Cheng had claimed that he helped raise close to 200,000 Singapore dollars from a group of wealthy new citizens for Tampines SG60 Cares, a grassroots program supporting low-income residents. He presented the move as a gesture of multiracial and multi-religious harmony, timed to coincide with Hari Raya Aidilfitri. However, following backlash, Cheng announced that the donations would be redirected to SG Share, a national initiative led by the community chest under the SG60 banner. Masagos acknowledged Cheng's donation efforts in his personal capacity, but emphasized that the Tampines SG60 Cares program would continue without his involvement. While I appreciate his efforts to get support and donations to help Tampines residents, Calvin has said that it might be better if he redirects the funds for other causes. I appreciate his gesture, Masagos wrote. He added that the grassroots initiative would proceed with support from other donors, reaffirming the commitment of community organizations to serve Tampines residents. Masagos' remarks on Cheng's controversial statements drew a mixed response online. While some Facebook users welcomed his reaffirmation of Singapore's stance against violence in Gaza, many others felt that his response fell short, especially given his role as minister in charge of Muslim affairs. A number of commenters said that merely stating disagreement was inadequate for a cabinet minister representing the Muslim community. They argued that stronger and clearer condemnation was expected, particularly in light of the community's hurt over Cheng's remarks. One user wrote, "Disagreeing with Calvin Cheng falls far short from what many Muslims are expecting you to do, as Minister for Muslim Affairs, which is getting the authorities to arrest and charge him." The commenter added that the slow pace of action from the authorities sent the wrong message, giving the impression that such remarks were acceptable. Another commenter echoed this sentiment, writing, "You disagree? You should be condemning such views because they have no place in our society. Saying you merely disagree doesn't cut it." One user remarked that after a long delay, the minister's brief statement that he disagrees with Cheng was inadequate and deeply disappointing. Several users criticized Masagos for what they saw as a weak response to Cheng's remarks, especially given the gravity of the issue and his ministerial role. One user questioned whether Masagos had the courage to speak up for the Malay-Muslim community, asking why he only said he disagrees with Calvin Cheng. The user noted that Cheng had previously offended the community and was doing so again. Referring to Cheng's donation announcement, they said his boast, "As if we are so hard up," only added insult to injury. The user expressed outrage that Masagos praised Cheng's charitable efforts, stating that he should be ashamed, and urging him to have some dignity and remove yourself from the post of Minister of Muslim Affairs. Some comments urged Masagos to display clearer moral leadership during moments of national and communal tension. One user wrote that, as the minister in charge of Muslim affairs, It was his duty to take a firm stand when a public figure like Cheng attacks Muslim leaders and questions the community's compassion for innocent lives. Simply stating disagreement, they argued, was not enough. They went on to say that in a time of grief and solidarity, allowing harmful and divisive views to go unchecked, or responding with silence and soft wording, is not leadership but avoidance. When public trust is tested, the minister's response must be loud, firm, and clear, not careful. Another user made a passionate plea for leadership, writing, "With respect, it is not your personal disagreement that the people are waiting for, it is your leadership. You are not merely a Malay member of parliament. You are a cabinet minister." The user continued, "When hateful speech is left unchecked, when a community is hurt and vilified, the expectation is not for silence wrapped in civility, it is for courage wrapped in conviction. This is not the time to retreat into neutrality," the user said. "It is the time to speak clearly, without ambiguity, and to act decisively. Your position demands more than carefully crafted statements. It demands moral clarity and a spine." Some users argued that statements alone were insufficient and urged the minister to back his words with concrete action. Simply stating disagreement, especially in a public post, is not the same as taking meaningful action. One user wrote, "True support for peace and justice comes not just from words, but from consistent effort, advocacy, and tangible steps toward helping those affected." They concluded, disagreeing alone does not equate to doing something about the suffering or injustice. Separately, the Singapore Islamic Scholars and Religious Teachers Association issued a strong condemnation of Cheng's remarks, calling them deeply troubling and a threat to Singapore's multiracial harmony. In a 6th April statement, Purgas expressed deep consternation over Cheng's post and said his words risk undermining hard-earned social cohesion. As a former public figure, Mr. Cheng holds influence and reach, Purgas stated. It is therefore disappointing that instead of fostering respectful discourse, he has chosen to ridicule and alienate fellow Singaporeans, many of whom are expressing empathy and solidarity in response to humanitarian suffering. Purgas described the remarks as dehumanizing, dismissive, and grossly insensitive, particularly amid the ongoing civilian casualties in Gaza. Quoting Surah An-Nisa, the group emphasized the moral responsibility to stand for justice and urged authorities to act to protect the nation's social fabric. Individuals who incite hatred, sow discord, or make insensitive and harmful remarks must be held accountable, the statement added. In response, on 7 April, Cheng defended his original post, insisting that it did not mention race or religion and was aimed solely at what he described as disruptive activist behavior. "I directed my remarks at a group of people which included non-Muslims," Cheng wrote on Facebook. The post is still up, and the facts are clear. Cheng also accused opposition figures of twisting his words and said he had initiated legal action against them. "I understand Purgas' sentiments. I hope they will reread my post in this context," he added.